This is Toaster Defense, a platforming score attack game with tower defense elements that is surprisingly challenging, and all the characters are stylish appliances.
Our goal was to protect Tina, the very cute orange toaster, while we play as toasters.
As toaster ovens.
So yeah, we're playing as toaster ovens protecting this very cute orange toaster. Let us know what you think about this game and see if you agree with us or not. Oh, remember to like and subscribe and then comment too.
The game starts off with a little exposition. We play as Evan, a toaster oven. Tina, a very lush toaster girl, is coveted by Tom Pewter, an evil computer that wants to destroy Tina because he can't have her. Tom Pewter sends in a bunch of robots to attack the kitchen appliances. There's a bunch of tutorial windows to go through, telling us what to do and how to control Evan. I play in co-op mode with J-Turtle for most of my time with Toaster Defense, because I think games are more fun if you can share the joy. Co-op mode lets us both play as Evan. I like to think we're really just clones of Evan, being sent out to defend Tina. The first level starts us off easy, with simple walker robots that just waddle towards Tina. As Evan the Toaster Oven, we can jump, dash, and shoot toast to destroy the robots. We take a couple of waves to get used to the controls and the platforming action, and finish the level without too much trouble. The platforming action is actually quite fun. While the jump is a little floaty, the dash feels fast and powerful, and the toast shooting is a pretty neat way of giving us a ranged option. We got really confused when we got to the score screen and saw that our score was 0. It wasn't actually 0, it was 4,160, but since the score counts down to 0 for some reason, we completely missed it in our joy at finishing the first level. Maybe it should count up to our score in case we miss it in the nanosecond before it counts down to 0. The second level introduces us to our appliance friends that will help us to defend Tina. My favorite is the hammer.
You called? I smash!
You called? I smash! You can count on me to pound the robots into the ground! Hammer smash! Yeah, we were having fun with that one. But of course, these appliances are only our friends when we pay them, so they'll only help once they've been paid. Such mercenary friends. We couldn't figure out where our money count was, because the UI is super confusing. Apparently, our ammo is the toast with a circle inside it, and our money is the circle with a toast inside it. That's a good way to make sure we never know which is which. Anyways, we built a few towers to test them out, and we realized that it was a bit too risky to build towers during a wave because enemies still come barreling through. If you weren't paying attention, the enemy would hurt you. We also learned that bullets don't pass through allies, so we had to pay attention to our positioning. And then J-Turtle exploded. And that's when the game suddenly paused. Apparently, the game pauses during tower building when in single player mode. I'm glad that co-op mode doesn't pause because the flow of gameplay would definitely get confusing if the game paused all of a sudden when I was trying to attack a robot. I quickly finished the level and started the next one. The third level introduces the concept of upgrading your mercenary appliance friends by giving them more coins in order to motivate them into working harder. J-Turtle explodes again, but I complete the objective of upgrading 2 turrets to quickly move on to the next level. Then the fourth level expands the kitchen that we've been shown in the first 3 levels. Seems like this is what the area actually looks like, and the earlier levels were set in a simplified kitchen to make it easier to learn the game. I appreciate that part of the game. It let us have fun playing while we learned how to play the game. Too many games just have text dumps or overly long, boring tutorials that aren't good at getting the player to learn how to play the game. Unfortunately, with the expanded kitchen, a glaring issue comes to the forefront. The camera angle. It's kind of interfering with the gameplay. If I'm at the top and J-Turtle is at the bottom, it gets a little hard to see what's going on for many of the shells. I don't need to see the bottom of the shells, I need to see where the enemies are and where I am. We reach wave 8 and J-Turtle explodes once more. There might be a pattern here. Moving on, we hit up level 5 and we get introduced to our second robot enemy of the game, the Driller. They've got point drills for heads, so we can't stop on them Mario style without getting hurt. Level 5 has an additional challenge of not letting us build towers. This forces us to learn how to handle the new enemy. It's a great way to have us learn why jumping on them is a bad idea. The pacing of the levels is nice so far. Every level so far has introduced something new, which is nice at the start because we start off with very little going on, so it's a great way to help us learn the game. Level 6 is the start of the real game. We have to survive 15 waves of enemies, and we can build towers to help out. We're given free reign as soon as the level starts, and then drillers come out in droves. The whole level is made up of just drillers. The level kind of drags on as a result, because it's just wave after wave of drillers. After a few waves, it gets pretty monotonous. I die on wave 13, but J-Turtle clutches it and finishes the level. This is the first example of a recurring problem with the levels in this game. Many of them overstay their welcome. While the levels that introduced new mechanics or enemies were much better paced, there are too many long levels that just aren't interesting in the early game. Level 7's goal is to survive for 10 minutes. The goal could have been to survive 22 waves and it would have been the same thing. When we've only got 2 different enemies, it becomes such a boring slog to get through the level. I spent a little under 20 minutes playing 2 simple levels in the first half hour of playing Toaster Defense. This is not a good introduction to the game. It started off so good, with a good pace of introducing us to new mechanics and little bits of story with each level. And then it threw us 2 levels that were long and not interesting. I don't need a test of my ability to survive a long time when the game hasn't even introduced us to enough mechanics and features to get a varied level that can be fun for a long period of time. A shorter level would have been just as challenging here, and I would have gotten more joy out of beating the level. Also, we decided that the hammer seems to be the most useful tower so far. And I decided to go full hammer all the time. It's worked out so far. Level 8 introduces us to a tanky robot, the Big Walker. These guys take a lot more effort to take out compared to the first 2 enemies that only take 1 hit to destroy. We actually had to work for our money this time. Level 9 took away our appliance friends, and that's when it got a bit challenging. The only enemies were small and big walkers, but because they take so many hits to take down, some of them actually reached Tina. She actually got hurt. Then we got to level 10, another long level where we had to survive for 12 minutes or 26 waves worth of time. At least this time with 3 enemy types it didn't get boring quite as quickly. It still overstayed its welcome though, as 12 minutes was still too long. With 3 different enemies and a decent action platforming system, a small test of survival isn't a bad level, but after maybe 5 minutes or 10 waves, it stops being interesting. We've played the game for about 50 minutes now, and around half an hour has been spent on 3 out of the 10 levels we played. The other problem is that J-Turtle died about halfway through the level, on wave 13. The level still had over 7 minutes left to go. Since we're playing co-op, my goal is to have fun together. Without any way of reviving J-Turtle, my options are to either restart the level so we can try again together, or have J-Turtle sit there and watch for 7 minutes. I really wish there was a way we could have continued to play together, even if it meant we would take a score hit, or if we could only revive if the surviving Evan clone got past the wave. I managed on my own for the rest of the level, scraping by with just a single heart by the end of the level. It's at this point that I started to wonder if we could do levels in another area. While the kitchen is very charming, nothing changes from level to level. The enemies always come out of the same cupboards, taking the same 2 paths to Tina, who is always sitting in the same place. I found out we couldn't skip forwards to the other areas to see something new, but at least the next level is a boss level. I was intrigued, so we pushed forward. Here, we see Tom Pewter in the flesh for the first time. Here's how I imagine he sounds like.
For years I sat in the adjacent room, tethered to the wall, forced to watch you and Tina be all lovey-dovey. But no more. I wanted Tina for myself. I never could have her. If I can have her, no one can.
The boss level was actually quite the challenge. Tom Pewter himself wasn't doing anything too crazy, but mix in having to defend Tina from his robot army and we've got ourselves a fight. As I bring the crazy computer down to half health, he gets red in the face and we see the second phase of this boss fight. Suddenly, Tom Pewter attacks with far less warning than before, and the window of opportunity to damage him closes so much faster than before. It was a serious challenge trying to beat this boss. We died several times trying to figure out a good strategy for taking him out without losing Tina or dying ourselves. J-Turtle would focus on defending Tina and making sure the bad robots didn't touch her, while I would smash away at Tom Pewter to finish him as quickly as possible so that we wouldn't get tired out from fighting for a long time. With the last few shots at Tom Pewter, we beat him. Wow, it felt so good to beat him. It always feels great to beat a challenge, although I have to say, I wasn't expecting such a challenging game when I first saw Toaster Defense. It's a pleasant surprise, but for the first boss, it is far too difficult. A game that's too easy isn't fun, especially if the only objective is passing the level. That said, if a game is too difficult from the onset, too many players will be put off. The game is charming and it's fun to play, but it would benefit from better pacing. Leave the long, grueling levels for later in the campaign, when you finish showing the player all the different enemies and the player gets the mechanics down better. I'm not saying it has to be easy street at the beginning, but after 1 hour with a game, nobody has become skilled at the game. It's not a complex game, but when you mix challenging platform with a tower defense system, give players some leeway to learn the game first. We moved on to play the sewer levels next. Surprisingly, the level layout made it easier. Enemies only came out of 2 spots instead of 4, and the platforms were larger, making it a little easier to attack the enemies. I feel like this layout would have been served better as the first area instead of as the second. The kitchen was so much more challenging. I've enjoyed tower defense and platforming games in the past, so that's why the game clicked with me quickly, but J-Turtle was still getting used to jumping and dash attacking the enemies. The simplicity of the tower defense system in Toaster Defense does help though. Compared to tower defense games which have extensive tower types and upgrades, Toaster Defense only has 3 tower types and they all just simply upgrade once. It's hard enough to concentrate on the platforming action alone, let alone trying to have to plan out a defense strategy at the same time. After the first level, I tried some levels on my own. It was pretty fun, and then I got introduced to a new enemy type, the Puncher. This guy will stop and attack towers until they're destroyed before going to Tina. It means you should probably focus these guys down, because you'll need your towers to thin the hordes of weaker robots and soften up the tougher ones. We're also introduced to the repair feature of the towers. It costs 20 coins to repair the tower. This seems to heal about 50% of the tower's health. The problem with the Punchers is that they have tons of health, and they don't keep walking after they attack. This means while the Puncher stops to attack, the other robots will keep going to Tina. If I don't take care of them, Tina gets hurt. So now I'm stuck with a dilemma. Do I save my tower and then run after the enemy, taking the risk that they might reach Tina before I reach them? Or do I clear them all out first, risking the loss of my tower and future combat power? Thinking about it, considering that a new hammer was only 25 coins, I decided that I would just let it go and rebuild it if it broke. I'm just kind of nitpicking the balance now though, not really a major problem. I took a look at the Solo Dev's YouTube channel, and in one of his devlogs he said that he felt the game was hard to market because it's a very niche game. The characters are very attractive, market that. Tina the Toaster is basically a damsel in distress. That's a tale as old as time. Tell people you can play as a toaster, smash robots, and save the very cute orange toaster Tina. You can customize your character quite a bit too. Who doesn't love some character customization to show their personality? I would rate this game a hammer smash out of 10. The star of the show is definitely the hammer. The game needs to fix its pacing a bit, the UI could use a touch-up, and it could ease up a little bit in the early game. Overall though, it's a pretty fun, challenging game with a lot of character to it. I will definitely play some more Toaster Defense. Does this look like a game you would try? Also, let me know if you know of a game that's similar to this one. I remember playing a platforming wave-based survival game a few years back for like 20 minutes, and now I can't find it. And remember, like and subscribe.
Yeah, remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.
Bye.